Back to the starting lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on your home for the St. Louis Blues, 102.1.
And we thank you very much for joining us on the starting lineup, and welcome back. Our number's 417-447-1021. I'm Ned Reynolds along with
Scott Purrier
and Art Haynes.
And we have a very special guest on the line with us. He's had a big last couple of weeks in particular with his horse Renegade winning the Arkansas Derby by 4 lengths and tuning up now for the Kentucky Derby on May 2nd. It's our pleasure to welcome him, Mr. Robert Lowe, to the program this morning. Mr. Lowe, thanks for your time.
Well, good morning, and thank you.
What was that like at Oaklawn on Derby Day? 73,000 people. I know you had some prime employees with you down there as well. Just kind of set the scene for us and what that whole day was like for the Lowe family.
Well, we ferried about 50 people down there in our aircraft. So those were mostly prime associates and folks that work here at the farm. So, you know, when you're going to the races with a good horse and some good friends, it's pretty exciting.
Mr. Lowe, you mentioned the farm, Prima Terra. Tell the folks a little bit about your location and about how large a farm it is.
It's almost 400 acres, just north. I mean, if I could hit a 4-iron like you can, I could probably hit it from the office here. And I'm really fortunate. We found this piece of property, and it's convenient to work, and just takes me a few minutes so I can more or less just roll out of bed and, you know, trundle on in here and be here in 10 minutes. So very nice.
Arthur? So it's south of I-44 then, there by the Prime Incorporated headquarters?
No, it's north of 44, out on Bluegrass Road or Farm Road 93.
Yeah.
So Renegade wins and wins big, and now we'll go into the Kentucky Derby as one of the favorites. What does the horse get to do to celebrate? You guys got to go to the winner's circle along with it. After that, does it get to smoke a cigar or eat some extra roses? Or what does a horse do between now and the Kentucky Derby?
No, we don't want him eating the roses, and we definitely not a smoker.
Yeah.
Particularly of cigars.
Yeah, but does he get some downtime, or is it back to the training for the Derby? How does that work?
He gets some rest. You know, a lot of this resides with Todd. So he kind of can judge by the appearance and the attitude of the horse, you know, what he needs to do. So, you know, he'll probably work this weekend in Florida, you know, with the kind of a light workout. We won't ask him for a lot, and then kind of ease him in with a little bit more speed toward the Derby.
Mr. Lowe, the NBC folks, when they do the Kentucky Derby, give it extensive coverage, several hours, and one of the features is they parade the horses and the trainer and so forth. Do you have the opportunity to be with Renegade on that track on TV?
I will be. I don't know if I want to be. You know, my nerves will probably be showing, but we participate in the walkover. If you're acquainted with that, where we actually go where he stables, where he sleeps, where he resides, and help lead the horse over from there to the track.
Got to be a big thrill, though, a huge thrill for you.
Oh,
big question.
You know, in front of that crowd, it's amazing.
Big question this week. Irad Ortiz Jr., top jockey. He ran Renegade in the Arkansas Derby, but he's got some options. Is he going to be on Renegade for the Kentucky Derby?
Well, I think Irad will be there. You know, that's up to Irad, but I think he'll be there. I mean, our horse Renegade ran some really nice closing fractions, and you know, when you're contemplating a Derby horse, you know, it's not how fast they run up front; it's how they finish. And, you know, from just, you know, the eye, you know, looking at his race and how he finished up, I mean, he was picking them up and mowing them down at the end.
Mr. Lowe, you've got a pretty good side gig with 18-wheelers here in town that people are aware of there. But tell us how the horse bug bit you and Mrs. Lowe, and when that started, and I guess the progression of getting to this point as a horse owner and having a farm and a stable like you do.
Well, it bit me in my youth. You know, I was a farm kid. You know, we had a few horses not thoroughbreds, but, a horse is a horse. You fall in love with them, kind of like your puppies. They get to be family, and I just fell in love with the horses. And, we went from there to attending the races at Oaklawn, first with my parents, and then later on, LaWater and I made it down there. And, we love Oaklawn. I mean, just, the old cavernous place. Well, it used to be old. Now they're renovating it. The Sella boys are really doing a fantastic job with that facility. They have, the hotel, they have the casino there. So, it's really a beautiful place, beautiful facility, very nice, very accommodating staff. So we love it.
Mr. Lowe, correct me and correct us if we're wrong. Are you a Skyline product, Skyline High School?
Skyline Tiger, baby.
You are. Okay. If I can ask, what era were you up at Skyline?
Graduated in 67, so
okay.
It was kind of mid-60s. We had a pretty good team, better than average, but Bradleyville knocked us out in the quarterfinals. So, they were a pretty good bunch, if you recall back then. I'm sure you do.
I do indeed.
Yeah.
The Hicks and the Sticks.
We got within three points of them, and, it was really, that was a great game. They were a great team. We were a great team.
And something I really admire in people is they don't forget where they came from. And I know you, we just had a guest on early part of the hour, said your foundation still gives an annual scholarship at Skyline High.
Yeah, proud to do that. Something that started with, our parents, tribute to our grandparents, didn't get beyond the 8th grade, but they raised 9 children up there in Urbana, and they all graduated from college. So we're very proud of that heritage.
Mr. Lowe, you had just a tremendous horse that won the Derby back around 18, 19 in that era, Magnum Moon. Do you see similarities between Renegade and that horse? And what do you like about Renegade that has you very confident about the Triple Crown races coming up?
They're two completely different styles. Magnum Moon won the Arkansas Derby, basically wire to wire. That was his style. And he was really a wonderful horse, very courageous, and very fast, very talented. Renegade, on the other hand, is a closer, and hopefully he'll get some pace in front of him. So, I think when the horse gets a view of the other horses and sets his sights on them, he takes off. I mean, just like Irad said, it seems like he just kind of takes a deep breath and then goes. He wants to win, and has that stamina to do that.
Mr. Lowe, you mentioned earlier that Renegade right now is down in Florida. Do all of your horses eventually come up here to do any of the training, or is it all done away from home?
The advanced training is done away from home. We get them started here. We have the yearlings here right now, and we're hand walking them, and we have an exercise machine at the farm, and so we start legging them up to go typically in the fall. Most of them go to Ocala, and we kind of sort by what we perceive the talent level to be, and send them to the appropriate place. Most of them go to Todd's dad, JJ, in Ocala.
Aren't there?
So you got to win one before you win 3, but do you think Renegade might be a Triple Crown contender?
Well, Art, I think he might be. He has the right style. He has the stamina. His mother, which we have out here at the farm, is named Spice is Nice, and she's by Curlin, which is a really great stamina influence.
You mentioned that your love for this started obviously on your own farm, but then going to Oaklawn, and I know a lot of Ozarkers go down there. We go down at least once a year. We have no rhyme or reason. My wife picks names and colors. I look for, I used to look for Charlie Chappell's horses because Rand and I were good friends. Now we look for your horses. Tip sheets galore. What advice would you give to local people that go to Oaklawn maybe once a year? Because you've done this a time or two on the betting side of things. What do you look for when you go down there?
I do most of my handicapping work, but I like to get confirmation from Fat Bald Guy or Stable Boy, or there are numerous. I've tried them all.
Yeah.
And there's none that I haven't bought. So the Wizard, we enjoy just comparing notes and try to triangulate on finding a winner.
And we had racing dudes, Aaron Halterman, on yesterday with us. You said you follow their tips as well, correct?
I do. Yeah, those are great guys, and they're very good.
You mentioned the fact earlier you took a big entourage down to Oaklawn. Will there be a prime truck entourage going to Churchill Downs?
There's going to be quite a group. I'm going to have to win. I'm going to have to win the race to pay for that.
Break even.
Well, hopefully get close to break even. There's no really hope for breaking even, but yeah, we've got a 737. 150 passenger aircraft, so we get our people over there and early in the morning and get them back that night. We took buses when Magna Moon ran in that ill-fated, just drenching rain.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, but that's a hard trip, and you have to stop someplace and get lodging. So, I think the aircraft's a better option. And we'll have a great time. So, about maybe 150 on that flight, and then we'll use our plane to ferry others and a few customers and other friends. So we'll have a nice group there. We'll have a lot of support.
Yeah, you need a win with that many people going, it sounds like.
Yeah. Sky, you can probably hear them cheering from Springfield. I'll say that.
Exactly. Art, you got anything else?
Well, just that wherever we go in the country and see your prime trucks, we kind of a little piece of home wherever we happen to be, and we're proud of that. But you also are in the hotel business in one of our favorite cities, Biloxi, Mississippi.
Absolutely. You've been down there. Great facility. It's non-smoking, very clean. You have that Southern hospitality. Our folks are very nice. We believe it's just as easy to be nice as it is to be ornery. It sure pays better. So, we just have a great team down there and a great facility. It's not the biggest in the world. We also have a golf course called the Preserve, marina. I mean, it's a resort type facility. So, and it's horse book. You can go in there and place your bets. So, we've got it all.
I watched the 17 inning or whatever it was game involving the Mariners in your sports book in October, and just had a great time in there.
Hey, thanks. We appreciate the business, and come back and see us.
Well, Mr. Lowe, should we just go ahead and announce that all Prime employees get the Monday off after the Kentucky Derby if Renegade wins, or should we hold off on that announcement yet?
No, you announced that we need really double duty.
To make up for all the work they missed thinking about the race, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, again, we appreciate your time and congratulations. And I think we all know who the Ozarks will be pulling for at the Kentucky Derby. That's got to be a great feeling knowing you got an entire region, let alone people across the country rooting for your horse.
Thank you very much, Scott. We appreciate all the support, the local support. It's meaningful to us. And, what makes it fun? I mean, you invest a lot. There are, disappointments in this game. There are victories. But there's nothing better than having, friends and acquaintances and support of the community with us. So we thank folks for doing that.
Very good. Thanks again, and go Renegade, right, Ned?
Absolutely, in every respect.
Renegade, right?
There it is.
And where can we find those hats as he's showing us on the video version?
You're gonna have to come to Prime's company store, and Teddy tells me he has plenty down there.
Very good. Well, we'll head out there. Thanks again, and best of luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
That's Mr.
Thanks, Robert.
Robert Lowe, who is the boss man, of course, of Prime Trucking and the owner of Renegade, one of the favorites in the Kentucky Derby. We'll take a quick time out on the starting lineup and be right back.
You're listening to the starting lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One.